Big, big blooper.
Mr. Spock, a blooper reel shouldn't include an in memoriam.
If small misfortunes are funny, bigger misfortunes should elicit bigger laughs. That is quite logical.
Set a course for love.
Ah, yes. One of your earth emotions.
Glad I found you.
Let's get married.
Delete the wife.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Deep Space Love, Star Trek podcast where a married Trekkie couple explore love in all its forms throughout the final frontier. I'm Nicole, one of your hosts.
And I'm one of your other hosts, Joe.
You are the only other host. We kind of do this every time. And our guest just snorted, so I guess I'll introduce him right away. Coming back, this is our first recurring guest. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yes. So that's a high honor. Okay, so with us today is one of our previous guests, writer, producer, comedian, rapper, an all-around artist, also a lover of a good pun, and a top-notch friend. Welcome back, Khalid.
Hi. Thank you for having me back. Couple things. One, got to push back on the lover of pun thing. You thought I wouldn't flag that. Flagged it. Lover of puns is strong. It's a strong take. Definitely going to have to revisit that at some point. Other point is, wow, first recurring guest. I didn't know that before I said yes. So high honor. Thank you for having me back. I'm so excited to be back in your guys' sandbox. It's so cool to just see you guys do your thing and watch Joe be a terrible co-host. It's not that easy, is it, Joe?
The best. It's easy. It's easy as pie.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited to be back and talk all things Trek.
Yeah, Khalid, we haven't talked Trek on the podcast since last year.
Oh, no.
You're doing it already.
You're
doing it's technically a new year joke already.
Yeah. You like it?
I didn't like it the first 15 times you did it this year.
I had some of the end of the year ones too, though, around here.
Yeah.
I'll see you next year. When we went to bed.
That's not what I sound like.
Yeah, you sound older. Like there's like a wheeze to you. Like I don't know if there's like any Foley artists out there that can like let us know how to make it sound like he has a walker whenever he's recording. That would be helpful.
Wow.
Anyway,
I'm youthful and sprightly.
All right. We're just gonna chew on that. We're gonna let that one marinate, folks.
Yeah. Exactly.
Joe, you are correct, though. This is going to be our first episode of 2024.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Woo!
It's a delayed reaction. I mean, we'll see how this year turns out. It's really premature to make any. I'm always hopeful in a new year, but you know.
Yeah. We always make a goal in this podcast to try to release monthly, and we always.
Oh, that's not even where I was going.
Don't succeed in that goal, but we'll get there.
This is a hobby. It's a passion project, and nobody is like paying me to do this. So
unless anybody out there wants to, you're welcome to.
True. We'll take any patrons or backers. We don't have a Patreon though.
No,
so
but we could if we get some feedback.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm fine with it. We're flexible. We each have a full-time job and we're raising 2 kids and trying to keep our house from falling apart and things like that. So I think we do pretty well to be able to sneak in some hobbies and like passion for Trek.
Yeah, it's exciting. And again, truly, Khalid, thanks for being here. I know I talk to you a lot on our other hit podcast, Frankenstein's podcast, but it's really fun when I get to pull you into some Star Trek conversations. So thanks for coming back.
Hit podcast is strong. As one of the hosts of Frankenstein's podcast, calling it a hit, even I have to be like, oh, rein in the expectations, buddy.
We got an email once that it was in the top 100 podcasts in Ireland. So that's cool.
There you go.
That's it, if you ask me.
I mean, it's how I landed my girlfriend. I was like, not to brag, but I have one of the top 100 podcasts in Ireland, according to an email.
Yeah.
I can see
So
how that
there
would
you
do
go.
it.
I didn't know there are no secondary sources.
You're welcome, Khalid.
How I Met Your Mother humble bragged about my podcast ranking.
In another country.
Funny. You know what else is funny, everybody?
There we go.
Please tell me. Oh no, maybe don't tell me. I don't know.
It's our topic for today. That's a
Okay.
segue.
Okay.
I kind of took a page out of our own book last year, Nikki. I'm going to say
Our
Nikki.
own book? What
Our
book?
own book. Last year, at the beginning of the year, we did a more of a conceptual episode instead of just like a love story in Trek. Last year in January, we ranked all of the Star Treks
yeah.
based on our own metrics we created.
Okay.
And this year, I thought we'd take one of those specific metrics that I really enjoyed, raillery, also known as humor,
Mm-hmm.
and dig into that a little bit more.
Sorry, Khalid's face.
That's the first time I heard that word. It left a bad taste.
For those of you who might be new listeners, when we did rank the Star Treks, I pushed for the use of the term raillery.
He did.
And I got it, much to Nikki's dismay.
It's like nails on a chalkboard.
Because I have to. It's like you have to move your mouth weird to say it.
Raillery.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're talking about Star Trek humor, and I thought that'd be a fun way to start the year.
It is a fun way to start the year.
So before we have several specific episodes we're going to dig into, but I thought I'd just talk a little bit, do a brief overview of like Star Trek's relationship with like humor and comedy before we dig into the specifics that we chose. So
humor and comedy. Could you define both of those? You said humor and
raillery.
Comedy, like they were two different things.
Well, humor is no, I don't know. It's funny. Why? What? Wow. Putting me on the spot here.
It's redundant. We were in AP English, Joe.
Yeah. Okay. Star Trek's relationship with humor, and I'm going to stop there.
With humor, full stop.
Yeah. Love you too. So, okay. Star Trek's got a long history with comedy. I'd say back in the 60s, the early TOS age, they were campy for sure, but they had some outright humor episodes with specifically like the Trouble with Tribbles. I'd say is a strong example of that. And then even maybe I'd give an example like A Piece of the Action, the one where they go to the gangster planet. The animated series, which we just recently celebrated the 50th anniversary of, also dabbled in like specifically humorous episodes, not just camp, but like actually inserting jokes and trying to have a humorous premise. Specifically one that I would call to mind is an episode called The Practical Joker, when the computer gains sentience and starts just playing jokes on the crew. So that's kind of a fun one. It's the one with the famous image with the Kirk is a jerk on the back of his shirt. You ever seen that? Yeah. God his ass. Then in the 90s series, in the 2000s, we do have like more intentional episodes, especially since they had the 26 episode seasons, specific episodes related to humor, a lot of Q episodes, a lot of Data episodes, holodeck episodes.
Well, in Data exploring
humanity and like what that looks like. Data exploring comedy is a specific episode too. I would say we have specifically a weird comedy trope that's something that I think recurs a lot in Star Trek, is that like Freaky Friday body swap concept, which I think is kind of funny. We actually have it like Body and Soul is an episode of Voyager that like the Doctor inhabits Seven's body for a while. We have Mind Walk, which is an episode of Prodigy when Dal and Janeway switch bodies. Then we have the Strange New Worlds episode where Spock and T'Pring switch bodies. So we have like a lot of attempts at humor that come out differently. And I'd say like Strange New Worlds on the whole is actually kind of attempting to do generally more comedy with like some kind of out there concepts, like the musical episode, the crossover with Lower Decks. And then with that, I'd just be remiss if I didn't even mention Star Trek Lower Decks, which is like the full-fledged like comedy series that Star Trek has created. We didn't pick a specific Lower Decks episode for this because I don't know, I find it hard to choose because I think they're all very funny. But I thought before we dug into the episodes that we chose for this, I thought I'd just like, I kind of want to ask you, Khalid, because I think that Lower Decks you've said is your favorite Trek, right?
Yeah, I think, even now, just assessing the rankings, Lower Decks is probably like just consistently my favorite thing to go to in the Trek world.
Yeah. You thought about it for a second. What's next up there?
Strange New Worlds is
Okay.
really like, it came out the gate strong with the first season. I'm about halfway through the second season and really just loving it. Like the cast chemistry is strong, and I'm we'll get into it like with like when we're talking about all these episodes, but like I'm really just understanding like this like the deep legacy that Star Trek has and like the reverence that like people have for it in terms of like just creators has like made it so in a way that Star Wars hasn't been able to capitalize on. Like the new era of Trek is just like so amazing on so many different fronts. And it's just like, they're just so good to look at. And then like you see like names like Brian Fuller that have been there since like the Next Generation days and stuff. And then he went on to be like a showrunner for Hannibal, which was like beautifully rendered like crime scenes and stuff like that. And then you go, oh, that's why the new Trek just looks amazing, is because like they've got like geniuses like Fuller there to like guide the old and new. And yeah, I just Strange New Worlds is like the best example of that so far, where it's like I just every time I'm watching it, I just kind of like get distracted by how beautifully shot it all is on like practical sets and the lighting and the color, and it feels like such an earnest evolution of everything that came before it.
It's a great, well said, Khalid.
Thanks.
In terms of Lower Decks, I think just at least from my perspective, and Nikki, I know we've talked about this before, like it just balances the really goofy kind of humor, sometimes just really zany, bonkers ideas with like the strong sense of heart that's really refreshing. I know like Mike McMahon was involved in like Solar Opposites is another show, which I thought was funny, but I struggled a little bit to get into it. It's definitely just like another kind of like a little more mean spirited, like Rick and Morty-esque, but this like, we've talked about this term before, like the sweet weird kind of thing, where
Yeah, I
it's
was
like
gonna bring that up.
weird, but it's also very sweet and wholesome. And I just like, that's like very Star Trek-y to me. And I really appreciate that about Lower Decks. Like you really grow to love these characters and you want them to succeed. You see these like silly scenarios and you just see like, it's just like, oh, like it makes you feel nice to watch through it.
And also, I think that they've had the ability to, with such a long and storied and rich franchise history, to be able to look back on some, of the tropes that Trek has used, or just some of the things that are unique about it, and poking fun in that nice way, but not in a mean way, where we're like, we can joke, kind of like a joking, self-deprecating way. Not even really self-deprecation, but just, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, we can joke about. I mean, kind of like, so almost every year, Joe and I go every Christmas season, holiday season at the end of the year. We have had the pleasure of going to a holiday or a Klingon parody of like a classic holiday story. So in the past, it was a Klingon Christmas Carol, but in the past, well, I want to say couple years. So we went this year, and then I think the last time we went was 2019 because of the whole pandemic thing. But it's an honorable life. So anyway,
It's a stage production. Yeah.
Yes, sorry, I didn't clarify that. But anyway, that's been fun to go to, and I feel like that's part of that experience too, where is like poking fun, like the whole Klingon bit, and the this year's about the forehead.
How the forehead's changed.
How
Yeah.
the forehead's changed. So, and so we can look, I feel like it's also like testament to how, I mean, I don't want to compare Star Trek and Star Wars. We love Star Wars also. But I mean, I think the way that Star Trek has been able to poke fun at itself in this loving way is also a part of its, how it approaches comedy. And I think it's successful.
Yeah. What do you think,
Especially
Khalid?
as a fan.
No, I mean, I don't have much to add beyond what you guys said. All great points that I agree with. I think that like, you brought up the Rick and Morty comparison of like, yeah, there's a lot of like, especially in this landscape of comedy, there's a lot of like high concept sci-fi comedy in part because of what like Rick and Morty inspired. And I think Lower Decks wisely leans into like the earnest sincerity that Star Trek really pulls off. Star Trek was never about being the cool guy in the room. It's almost always like, here's how a nerd would solve a problem in the nicest way possible. That's kind of what Star Trek is to me, where it's just like even in like these episodes we're going to talk about, like there's just like a very like dorky earnestness to all of it that
Dorky earnestness. I love that.
that like it even now with like all the polished like cameras and angles and stuff like that, there's still just like this like we have to think our way out of this problem kind of uh like gusto that Star Wars has never really been about and Star Trek has always been about. So when you're talking about making like a comedy, it should be an earnest dorky comedy in the same way that it's an earnest dorky action adventure show.
Yes. Yes. I like that. Great points. So, with that being said, Nikki and I kind of pared down some of our favorite examples of like comedy or some of the more striking examples of comedy in Star Trek over the past several years. We didn't go into TOS or the animated series, which kind of like mentioned some of those. We also didn't include The Voyage Home, the fourth movie, which would be, I think, one that would also fit as a comedy piece. But we just chose some episodes from the 90s series, from a TNG, of Deep Space Nine, of Voyager, and a couple examples from newer Star Trek that we'll get into down the way. But I was thinking we would go through them kind of chronologically, starting with The Next Generation. We chose the episode Cupid from season 4, which is episode 20, which came out in April of 1991, which is wild to think. I don't want to spend too much time on this one because we actually did an episode about the Picard Vash relationship over those 2 episodes.
Mhm.
So if you're interested in more of that, definitely go back and check out our thoughts on that. But I did want to. I just felt like I'd be remiss if I didn't talk a little bit about this episode, because this, for me, when I was a kid, was actually one of my favorite episodes. I loved it, and I was also not going to miss the opportunity of making Khalid watch this. So, Khalid, again, Nikki's and my thoughts are on this unrecorded already. What did you think of this episode?
Oh man, what didn't I think? A lot of things. I didn't think a lot of things. What I did think was crazy that the first 15 minutes of this feels like a Frasier episode. And I know for a fact I saw something about Robin Hood in the description before I clicked on this. And the episode feels like no urgency in getting to that in a like logical way, and then it just kind of doesn't like so I had like really no idea what to expect outside of they were going to eventually do like a Robin Hood thing. And I kept for the life of me trying to figure out like what about like this situationship of Picard's that has arrived on the ship is going to have to do with Robin Hood, right? And they do a really good job of like just kind of like making it about their relationship. And now I understand that she was actually in a couple episodes. So like it's actually like, because the whole time I was just like, why is this chick like so mad that the captain isn't like going around telling people like he hooked up for a weekend? And now it's like, oh, there was like a whole episode about it, of course. And there's like like stuff probably actually happened that it's weird that he didn't tell anybody about. But in this episode, I just kept like thinking like, okay, well, like Cupid, I know Q. And so I was like, wait, is this going to be like a big twist where it turns out that like the girl isn't real and like Q made her and that's why like she hasn't been, but then it's like, why does she care if he brought her up or not then? Anyways, all of that went out the door as soon as Q got there. And it turns out that the way that the episode is structured is that he kidnapped Picard and his entire like crew and girlfriend and like put them in a like life or death Robin Hood scenario as a thank you. That's the way they get to the Robin Hood thing, is like Q is putting him in a life and death situation as a thank you. And then it ends like a Frasier episode. Like that's the thing. Like it starts like a Frasier episode where it's like, oh, like Frasier's got a girlfriend, but for some reason he hasn't told any of his like coworkers or family or anything. And then it ends and it's like Frasier lost his date in a whimsical way to another guy that's just a lot cooler than him. And I'm just like, God, I love the 90s. I love 90s TV so much. Like you don't get stuff like that anymore. And yeah, it was all worth it if only to see Geordie LaForge and Worf in tights.
Yes, the Frasier comparisons are great.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kept thinking this is Frasier in space right now.
Yeah, that's so funny. There's actually like I don't know if it's an SNL sketch or something where the cast of Frasier does a bit where they're all on the Voyager, the Star Trek Voyager. Actually,
That seems like low hanging fruit. I don't doubt it.
yeah, it's somewhere out there you could find it.
Yeah,
But
it's a
yeah,
home run.
yeah, like it's such a weird like high concept thing with such a silly premise, like you point out. It's just funny. Did you have any favorite like lines or bits?
Oh man, we watched so much stuff in preparation for this that like it's kind of jumbled. I should have written some lines down. I'm trying to think because like that was the first one I saw.
One of the
Um,
classics from this one is when Worf is like, "I am not a merry man."
Yeah, that was really good. I also really loved because like they're him and like the crew are basically just there for like comedic effect,
Yeah.
and so when he's just like smashes the little ukulele, that's or again I guess it's a mandolin. That's so funny. When she's just like when the Bajoran girl, she's just like, huh, I guess or no, she's not Bajoran. Who's the girl that was like shooting the arrows?
Oh, you think of Troy?
Yeah, Troy.
Yeah.
Like she's just like, oh, I guess I should probably learn how to shoot arrows. And she accidentally hits Data.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. So Q kept him an android. That's good. That's probably good. Yeah, I don't know. Like all the Robin Hood stuff was like also funny to me because it was just like I like that like what's her name? Vash. She's just like very much like I don't know what the hell Robin Hood is. Yeah, whatever. I'll be your wife. I don't die then? Like that is such a cool like twist on it. It's like she keeps fucking up the story and like kind of throwing off Q's whole like plot, which was also a dumb plot. Like we're gonna act out Robin Hood is your plan.
Yes. Great points. Do you have any more thoughts on this one, Nikki?
No, I will say that our episode to which you are referring is episode 3.
Oh, we did this one early on, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I probably was like, we got to do this because I love this episode.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like a classic.
It is.
It is a really fun one, yeah.
Yeah, and you can just tell the whole team had fun with this. Oh, I like that Riker is like just such a like scuzzball. Hey, you seem new. You just get into the spaceship? Like he's very like just Mac Daddy mode ASAP. And I'm just like, honestly, I get it. Like the guy is like oozing sexuality. I don't think he can help it. I think he's the only person with a starship like uniform that like has chest hair poking through.
What season is that again?
Season 4.
Oh man, it's like
Yeah.
right in the
In
middle.
the thick of the really good stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next one. So the next one that came out chronologically, we're jumping forward several years, is the Deep Space Nine episode "Take Me Out to the Hollow Suite," season 7, episode 4, from October of 1998. So essentially, this one, the story is that Captain Sisko and his crew are challenged to a game of baseball by a Vulcan Starfleet rival. This was a script that was written by Ronald D. Moore, who was all over Star Trek, but eventually went on to create the new like Battlestar Galactica series. So he's kind of got a lot of sci-fi cred. So it's fun to see that he like wrote this one on his own. But anyway, it was a hard one to choose a Deep Space Nine episode because there are a couple really good humor ones. I mean, of course, there's the Ferengi ones, which are silly, but like they have a crossover episode with TOS there where they kind of like superimpose them into an old episode that's very funny. I do think we'll talk about that one sometime down the line as well. But we settled on this one. So Nikki, why don't we start with you? What did you think of this one?
I really like this episode. I kind of forgot until we'd rewatched it. But I think I like it's I forgot how late in the series it was. It's actually sort of a little bit of a break from all the Dominion War stuff that's going on, like that really big arc kind of in like season 6 and 7 particularly. And so it is a nice reprieve if you're kind of going through all of the episodes. And I also think it's a good like everyone's having a good time, like, you know, everybody gets to wear something besides their, you know, uniforms for most of it. The cast just gets to interact in different ways and they all get to like, I don't know, pretend to learn like baseball rules and like really specific things and all the silly words that, like baseball terms and stuff like that. When they're I don't remember. They're going through some of them in the beginning. Like Bashir and Kira and Ezri, and just that's some really good stuff too. But also, I think I like this one a lot too because of Cisco's kind of lesson that he has to kind of learn. I think that that's a nice balance with all of the humor. Is like some of the heart that comes through at the end there, where he realizes he was kind of an asshole and kind of has to make it up to Rum and the whole team really. And yeah, I don't know. I think that it's a really good episode and yeah, a good rewatch.
Agreed. How about you, Khalid?
Why don't you go, Joe?
Okay. Well, I will say that I really love this episode. This has a lot of fun bits. I got into as a Star Trek fan, I got into Deep Space Nine a lot later in my life. Like I didn't really watch it as much because it was more serialized. So like I was watching episodes on TV. I was like, I don't know what's going on. But going through this, like kind of like Nikki said, like it is just such an interesting like chapter within this broader, like really dark, like war arc that Deep Space Nine took on. Like it was able to like take on this, like some really like heavy themes. And we've reflected on this before, but like to have like this just break in this episode, and I think in season 7 there's another break where they have to like save the holodeck, save Vic's suite. So like they have a couple little breaks like that where they're just like doing some fun goofy thing, but it just feels like almost meaningful in a sense because like they don't get into it too much in this episode, but there's other parts in the series where they talk about like, the crew's just seen so much shit. Like we've had so much loss constantly. We have so much trauma. Like we just need this one. We just need this break to like do something, like something to focus our mind and something kind of like jovial and fun, like a little rivalry. And so like the way that fits in, like it doesn't feel jarring. I feel like it feels like it works, and I appreciate that all the more. And it's very funny. Like it's just playing with those like silly ideas of like aliens having to learn this like old school like American game, really like classic, Earth game and stuff, and like being bad at it, and like the funny like bits, and like Worf again being kind of an MVP with some great lines like death to the opposition.
Yeah.
Or my favorite, find him and kill him. I laugh pretty hard at that one. Like those are great. Like those like kind of things. I do have a really fun fact.
And Odo practicing
how to be an umpire. Yeah, like in his office. That was really fun.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's very cute.
All those bits are great. So fun fact, I did read Max Grodenchik, who plays Rom, the Ferengi, who if Khalid, you don't know who Ram is specifically, is the one that Cisco kicks off the team.
Okay.
He actually, in real life, the actor, considered going pro as a baseball player before getting into acting.
I didn't know that.
He was so good at playing right-handed. He actually switched to left-handed in character, so he would be bad.
Wow.
I also considered going pro.
Yep, you're right. Yes, you understand.
Wow, you guys have something.
Yeah, just for the record, anyone can consider it.
That's true. That's a fair point. I could also consider that. I'm not going to, but I could consider it.
You could.
Yeah. All right, Khalid, what'd you think?
Thanks for asking. Yeah, man, this episode ruled. It was so earnest and dorky, just like I was saying at the top of the show. I think what I really loved about it, because like I didn't really have the context for it. Like I was like, this feels really weird as one of the last episodes of the series. Like I don't know if they knew it was the final season when they shot it or anything, but like it's also just like the bright side of having just like a bounty of episodes every season. Like you really get to just like, you get to go as weird as you want. And so for this episode, it's like, I know Cisco from other Deep Space Nine episodes we've watched. And so it was really fun to see him in like what I call like belligerent sitcom dad mode, which, like you see it on like The Simpsons or like Malcolm in the Middle, where it's just like the whole episode's plot is just based around like the dad, like being like belligerently into this thing that drags the whole family into it. And so it's funny to see like the captain of a starship do it, where it's just, or like a station, whatever Deep Space Nine would be categorized as. But it's just like so funny that like, it's just, he's like the mayor of that space station, and he's just like really obsessed with like this like no stakes baseball game. Like I don't think it's ever clear what's on the line besides his pride. And there's just something so like it reminds me of like my favorite Danny McBride characters, the way he's just like everybody's just like he's like, yeah, the thing is, this isn't the first time I lost to him. One time we wrestled. And it's just like, what? You wrestled a Vulcan? They're 3 times stronger than the average human and faster too. Like he treats it like it's like white whale, and everybody else is just like, why would you? Like there's so many things you could challenge a Vulcan in and like maybe win. You pick like the things you'll definitely lose at. And then like for him to like double or nothing in at baseball, like a sport that most humans don't give a shit about, let alone like a space station full of like the galaxy's most like brilliant minds. It's just it's earnest how they do it, and it's a really great like tightrope trick that they pull off with this episode that like you're sitting there going like this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen, and I love all of it. The Rudy moment that Ferengi gets with like the bunt and everything, the fact that they lost but they all cheered and like they won anyway, and that's what pisses off the Vulcan. Like that's so funny. He's like, no, what you lost. What do you mean you get the moral victory? Like that is such a relatable feeling. Like it's got to be like how like Sonny or not was it Apollo Creed feels at the end of Rocky.
Yeah.
Why is everybody standing? I won. Like it's that feeling for sure. So I could go on and on. Worf is hilarious here too. And the backflip when she catches that ball that's about to be a home run, she does a backflip off that like
outfield. Esri, right? Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. So lots going on in that episode. Very few parts of it made sense, but it all worked. It was great.
Yes, agreed. Great points all around. I love that the comparison to the sitcom dad trope. That is a really great
way to thought about it. Like
way to put this one. Yeah, way to frame it.
I mean, you brought up the not the Rudy comparison, the Rocky comparison.
Yeah, we talked about that too. Like, the losing but winning in spirit, in a sense.
And the fact that would absolutely piss a Vulcan off. That's just like really good like use of like the world. Like it's an illogical thing, and it's like one of the most annoying human things we do, where like we can somehow say that a person lost but won. Like that pisses me off when it happens, but it's like I get it too.
Yeah. We have to mention the team names too. The Niners versus the Logicians. Logicians. Yeah.
That was dumb, but I loved it.
Yeah. Which jersey of the two would you buy?
The Logicians, because the Niners just sounds like a real team.
Right. It totally does. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would just like have to keep explaining that I don't care about San Francisco to people.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. I think you can buy both of them for sure.
I mean, I probably won't buy either, but.
Well, just you wait. Look in the mail tomorrow.
Oh, shit.
I got you, Niners. Sorry.
Hell yeah.
You would.
Yeah. Go Bay Area. What do we got next? The Voyager episode?
Yep. So next we'll move on to the Voyager episode. So Star Trek Voyager, Bride of Chaotica, season 5, episode 12. This one came out the following year in January of
point at the end of the title. So I'd like 99. You to retry that.
Bride of Chaotica. So yeah, 99. Anyway, so the story of this one essentially is chaos erupts when aliens from the 5th dimension, which is what they refer to them as in this, but it's a like a photonic pocket dimension, interpret Lieutenant Paris's Captain Proton holographic novel as reality. So this was a wild one. Nikki, do you want to start us off on this, or do you want me to go first?
How about you go first on this one?
So this is a very memorable one for me. I think as our other podcast, Frankenstein podcast, will attest to, I love like kind of like campy B-movie stuff. And this is like,
do you?
I do. Fun fact about me. This is like an homage to like that old like sci-fi campy serial, like Flash Gordon-esque stuff that's ridiculous, but is also just like really fun in that charming way, kind of like that dorky charmingness, like you're talking about, Khalid. So this was an episode that I think, like, I mean, like, all of these episodes kind of like really had that on full display here, but this one, like, with the production value that they kind of put into it, like the black and white recording, the sets that they built for this like very specific like rocket ship or like layer fortress thing, they like kind of elaborate sets they made, the costume pieces they were put together, like they really went all out with like making this something fun. And like the music composition, like I have a thing, the music in this was written by David Bell, and he like specifically was trying to mimic the style of those 1940s serials, so like that's really fun. And like there are some fun recurring bits, like one of the ones in the opening was when like Ensign Kim says something that the planet they're on looks familiar, and Tom Paris says that sets are expensive, they reused it. And it's like totally a joke about Star Trek too, because they always use those like cave sets over and over again that like even Lower Decks pointed out this season.
Yep.
Like that's a really fun bit. The very concept that the photonic aliens don't believe that the cast or the main characters are real because like you don't register on our instruments is like kind of a interesting role reversal of like how Starfleet usually encounters like a weird alien that doesn't register and has to be like, no, like trust us, we're Starfleet. But in this case it was like, no, you're not real, like whatever. It's like that was fun. So and then like you pointed out, Khalid, this one was a Brian Fuller episode. Yeah, so that was kind of a fun to refer to that. So yeah, what about you, Nikki?
I think one of the standout things in this episode, obviously, but that you didn't mention, was Janeway's performance as Chaotica.
Yeah.
The whole
Bride of Chaotica.
Oh, yeah, Bride of Chaotica.
She's Arachnia, right?
Arachnia.
Yeah.
Yes, he's Chaotica. I think I get confused because I'm like, why does he have like kind of an A
like
name
like a
generally
Latin rules,
implies feminine, but anyway, he's Chaotica. She's Arachnia. Yes, because she's the spider queen. Queen of the spiders, I guess. Anyway, the whole like scene where they set up Janeway where she has to play Arachnia, like in the central, like the ready room, not the ready room, but whatever, the boardroom scene. And I told Joe, I was like, it almost, like, watching it now this time, I'm like, it almost felt like they had all set her up for it.
They all
Like, not
discussed it
just
beforehand?
like Paris, where they're like, oh, yep, you're the only one. And like, it kind of goes around the table to a few of them and they're like, yep, it's only you. And it was just very funny. I mean, she accepts it, and like she kicks ass, but anyway,
Yeah,
I feel like that's go ahead.
Well, like just Kate Mulgrew in general, just like chewing scenery, having a blast.
Yeah. Also, but honorable mention to the Doctor, who, I mean, if you watch enough of Voyager, of course, like you'll know how much he relishes the ability to perform and kind of fall into like another character. And so him taking on the role of President of Earth so earnestly is also a great bit. And being so proud of his performance too.
Yeah, he points it out
so confident
a few times.
Yeah. Oh, and the robot,
the robot, yeah,
the robot, and like once they revive the robot, and how like Harry and Tom like bring him back to have it, I guess, help, and just how like he's helpful, but also like annoyingly and clunky, and I don't know. That was a great bit too.
Totally.
It's a lot of fun. And just how like the appearance of the aliens too is like, I don't know, like these like 50s gangsters kind of.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was
that makes like no sense.
Like in a suit, yeah.
Yeah, because like they're right? Like the whole idea was that they have sort of been observing Harry and Tom on the holodeck, playing out Captain Proton episodes, and then they kind of get interjected or I don't know, but like their choice of costume, or is it their uniform? Like it's not really clear. It's just doesn't really match the scenery or the set, And so it's like, why did they choose that? Or is that, I don't know. It was funny to me.
Yeah, it's very silly. What about you, Khalid?
Thank you. So Nikki's kind of touched on it just there. I wouldn't say this is like my least like I like this is the worst of them or something like that, but I probably also like got the least enjoyment out of this episode for the stuff that we watched for this episode of the podcast. Um for me, I think it comes down to Voyager's like the one I have the least familiarity with. Like I've watched a few Deep Space Nine. I've watched a lot of the original series now. I've watched all of the newer episodes. And yeah, I don't know. Like it's for one reason or another, I just haven't really like dived into the Voyager section of the Star Trek pool just yet. And so watching this, it was just like a lot of characters that like I was just like since I'm watching just the one episode, I was like, are they usually in this episode? Is this a guy? And then it's like they're in like this scenario where like some of them are guys and then others are just not. And you just kind of go with it. But even with that aside, like I think that like what you were talking about, Nikki, about like not all of it being entirely clear. Like, why are they like dressed like 50s gangsters when the other guys are just like a proto Han Solo? And you know, like they seem like it's never really established with anybody else wearing suits. That's one of the things that's confusing about it. The other thing is like the concept's kind of fun, but it's a little up its own ass when you're talking about like they're fifth dimension light based forms, and so they can only see the holodeck. Like, what are the rules there? And then
Oh,
it's
yeah. Sorry, I wasn't sure if like if you haven't. Is this your first Voyager episode?
I mean, I might have seen some other ones in passing. Joe would know
Oh,
better than I would.
yeah, the Doctor's a hologram. I think that was probably fairly clear from the episode, but that was why like he was like the representative. It's because he's also like a photonic being, so to speak, because he's
Who's a
essentially
hologram?
The Doctor.
What doctor? Wait, which one?
The Doctor on Voyager. So the one who played the president of Earth.
Oh,
Yeah. So that
wait,
character,
but why could the creature see non-photonic creatures?
they could see them, but they thought that they weren't real.
like they thought they were like TV or like fake
Yeah.
characters.
That's kind of cool, but it was just like really heady, and then like
Sure, sure. I just wanted to like give you that context.
Yeah, but then like this idea that like like the blast from the holodeck hurt them or something, but then they could also hurt. It was just like I don't know. It felt like just that concept needed a lot more time to breathe than any one episode could give it. And
Yeah.
so it's just like, and you know, I mean, I'm a rube when it comes to all of this, so I just kind of took it, went with it. I didn't let it like bar me from enjoying the whole episode, but it was also just kind of this thing of like, all right, they're light monsters, and because the holodeck operates with lights. That's where like they're basically just like ghosts, and you're in a ghost world. So cool. But yeah, outside of that, I really loved Kate Mulgrew as the Spider Queen. She's got just like really like striking features, and they remind me of like the old Hollywood starlets. So like seeing her in like a traditional like black and white like pulpy kind of like role was just like a fun treat. If you've seen Orange is the New Black, she really like plays like a campy, melodramatic, theatrical character on there as well with like an accent. And so like I just think that if anything, this made me want to like maybe go in and watch a few Voyager episodes because I'm a fan of Kate Mulgrew, and I feel
Hell
like
yeah.
she probably gets a lot of like opportunities like this episode to just showcase like her range. But yeah, not my favorite of the bunch, but not bad either. Very fun. I love the Doctor Who imagery of it all, but like
God.
it's earnestly dorky, like you were saying, but like part of it is also like it's not the earnest dorkiness that like I like about Star Trek. It felt like it was just like too faithful to something that it's not.
That's a fair point. I think that one of the criticisms that sometimes people will like push or level at like Voyager specifically is they take like ideas that like kind of like the earlier series had been doing like a holodeck themed episode or like the Borg or something, and really just kind of like we're going to do that like a bunch more. And so they kind of like keep having to try to reinvent the wheel a little bit. Like, how could we do another holodeck story? How could we do another Borg story? Another one of these? So they kind of like, one of the things about Voyager, like a lot of people love it and we love it, of course, but I find that it has some really high highs and also some really low lows at times. So like it's a really uneven series a little bit altogether. And I think that what you're saying is really interesting because it's kind of evident that I think that both of those elements could be, you could say are happening in this episode. I think it's really fun, like knowing the characters and knowing the story. Like I really like, we have a lot of fun with it. And it's just like, I picked this one because I think it's one of the higher concept ones that they tried to do, like to trying to like do something and like visually different. And I think it's really fun. And there are some like good humor bits, of course, but yeah, I definitely see your points.
Thank you for seeing my points.
You're welcome. You are seen.
My points. Thank you too.
Yes. Anywho, yeah, we didn't.
There's some good Tuvok moments in this. I was just remembering real quick.
Oh yeah, friend of the podcast, Tim Russ, yeah, who's been on the show. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yo, what the hell was up with his wig? That thing looked like it was made of felt. That was nuts. It was, that lining was, it was just a rainbow arc around his face.
Yeah, I will say I think the hairline actually changes over time, doesn't it?
I think it does.
I think it actually does.
They did my man dirty.
Yeah. But you're right. He did have some good lines, yeah, when he's in the holodeck. But shall we push forward to the modern era?
Quote unquote modern.
Quote unquote new Trek. I don't know if people say that. Whatever. But we already talked about Lower Decks. We talked a little bit about Strange New Worlds. I think like Star Trek Picard and Star Trek Discovery are a lot more heavier. We have humorous moments, but I don't know if I would say there's really like a humor like episodes of those per se. Maybe a couple here and there. Discovery, the one that I can kind of point to might have been like the season 1 episode, like Magic to Make the Sanest Man Go Mad. The one, the time loop episode was kind of a more higher concept, like somewhat played with comedy. But it was a nice break in that season 1, which was, I'd say, pretty heavy.
True.
Seasons 3 and 4 have since like lightened up, but I'd still say like the drama tends to be more of the focus in that series, like, and as well with Picard. But we decided to key in on the short treks, which came out several years ago. Like when Discovery was in its earlier seasons, there was 10 short trek episodes that came out that were like short films, kind of concept episodes where some of these were actually like, let's play around with Anson Mount and his crew before they had greenlit Strange New Worlds, which is kind of the one we're going to see here. And there was even a short Trek episode that was a prequel to before Picard even came out that was kind of setting some of those stories up. I wish that they would actually come back out with the short Treks. I'd like to see more like short, like 15, 20-minute episodes, like different concepts and stuff, like addressing different parts of the world. I think it'd be a good opportunity to bring like older cast members back for short things too. But the one that we're going to focus on is
fun sandbox, as you like to say.
It's a fun sandbox. Thank you.
Where they can just explore different things without having to make a whole series out of it, or
exactly, yeah,
flesh
just
out like a bunch of stuff.
Take the pieces out, put them right back in, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But we picked the one from 2019, The Trouble with Edward, which is probably the most overtly humorous one that's actually like specifically trying to be a comedy episode. And in this episode, we meet Captain Lynn Lucero, who's transferring from Pike's Enterprise to take command of the USS Kabat, I think they said it was. Her enthusiasm is then tempered when she meets Edward Larkin, played by H. John Benjamin, a scientist who believes he has found a revolutionary new use for the tribbles. So, Nikki, I wanted to bring you in right away because
I was going to go last.
You want to go last? All right, fine. Because you okay. Right away after we watch this, you're like, I have a whole new read on this watching this the second time.
Yeah, so I don't want to like get into that. I don't know. I'd like to hear Khalid. I know Khalid just like did his thoughts on Bride of Chaotica, but
okay, Khalid, you want to start?
I think you should start again here. I'm curious.
Yeah. This is my first ever short trek. I liked it a lot. I agree that like Star Trek is like such a great, malleable like thing at this point, and there's so many different like nooks and crannies to explore that something like short treks is just a no-brainer. And this episode did a lot in convincing me of that. I really love H. John Benjamin, who we'll talk about a lot, I'm sure. But like, I also want to give a shout out to the other lead of this, Rosa Salazar. She was in Alita Battle Angel.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
So she was Alita, but like that was the thing is like I knew her as like a animated like actress, you know. That was the big thing that she was doing, was like entering like the VFX space. And then she also did this Amazon Prime show Undone that is like I recommended it on our podcast actually way back when, Joe. But she is just a very talented actor, and she is I feel like she's one of those actresses that's like very future thinking of like, what can I do with my performance in a digital space? But it was really cool to just see her straight up act in this too, and I think she did a really good job with the challenging role. The concept was super fun. I know Tribbles, of course, but I had forgotten what the trouble with Tribbles was. And so to see it kind of remixed here and like this kind of like gross, like slovenly, like asshole character using them was just like a funny alternative. And then this actually did have like a little bit of a Rick and Morty bent to it, where like the sci-fi gets out of control and it takes like an inevitably dark turn. But still it's funny because it took that turn. So yeah, not a lot to say about it outside of like I just really enjoyed it from beginning to end, and it was just like super funny.
Yeah, agreed. I think I was surprised because we were watching short treks when they were first coming out. Like when this, like watching this one, I was like, "Whoa, this is like a very surprising like change of tone." Like this is very much the first stepping stone we see to, I think, which we'll get into later, the very short treks, like that kind of stuff. Like that's the first time Trek's like playing with that like slightly darker, a little bit more mean spirited almost humor, I might say. Um, it's I mean, like it ends with her saying he's an idiot, right? Like it's not as much of a nicer as the like some of the nicer like plots that we see. But that being said, like I was really excited to see H. John Benjamin like step into Star Trek as well. Like you said, Rosa Salazar rocked it. It was like a fun, like I think it's really fun to see like characters that aren't the main characters in the main shows. Like that was really cool. Like we see Ansem out for a few moments, but then like it's focusing on a whole different ship, whole different crew. Like I like that concept, and I think that's one way that short treks could certainly flourish. Um, there was a lot of interesting, fun bits, a lot of great like just like timing of the humor of the jokes and stuff. Like the one that comes to mind is when Edward is just like standing by the replicator and he's like, "Ugh, new boss, huh? Barf."
They just hold on that shot for so long.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's the timing was so funny. And like when the guy like, nobody likes her, right? I think people like her, and the guy walks away and like a beat later he's like, "No, they don't."
Oh man.
Yeah.
You brought up a good point. I'm trying to remember real quick. It was I think what I like about it, like the dark turn of it thing, is still that it's true to Star Trek, where it's kind of just like this idea of like, you know, one of the main jokes about it is like, how do all of these like supposed geniuses like get into issues and stuff like that? And it's like, oh, right. For like Star Trek as a series to work, you have to be a baseline genius. Cause otherwise, like, if you're just kind of a dipshit, it's like problems like this guy every day, you know?
Yeah, you did bring that up in the first episode you guested on about how everybody in Starfleet is genius material.
Yeah, and it's just like that's what's really refreshing about it, you know? Like you watch like comedies or you watch like horror movies where it's like by default a lot of the characters kind of just have to be idiots for like the story to work. And so like to watch a show where everybody has to be like baseline a genius because it's like the most specific and unique problem is going to hit you this week and you have no idea what it's going to be yet, but like it's probably going to help to just like be like a physics expert and a medicine expert and all these things.
Yeah. You want to go into your thoughts, Nikki?
Well, I think watching it this time around, it was more striking to me, like the dynamic between like new boss who happens to be a woman and the disgruntled employee who thinks he's a mad genius. Kind of butting heads, like the whole. I don't know. It was interesting. I mean, like you're saying, it's kind of a little bit more than mean spirited humor. Like overall, like I mean, it's hard not to like enjoy sort of like the triple jokes and H. John Benjamin does like a great job playing the role, but like the whole when she has that first discussion in her office with him about like talking shit behind her back. And then like she's like, you're dismissed. And then he keeps trying to like continue the conversation. I got sort of some flashbacks of like, I don't know, like it reminded me of just sort of how like you can't shut up Donald Trump sometimes or most of the time, where it's just like word vomit. And it's just like, the kind of like that egotistical like male thing where, alpha male thing where it's like, I have to have the last word kind of thing. And I don't know. So that was, I think I was grimacing a little bit more than I was laughing the second time around just because of some of that. But I mean, like I love the whole bit about new boss barf. I mean, that's funny, because we can all kind of relate to that. But I think maybe, I don't know. For me, maybe it's just like the dynamic of, the fact that it was, new, like I said, boss who's a female captain, and we know it's her first time too, so it's not like even she's been a captain for a long time, like she's just kind of stepping into captain's shoes, and he's just being this prick about it.
He's being a prick
Some
about
idea.
a weird thing though, like that. Like, let's not ignore that either. Like the thing he like is losing his mind about is that he's not allowed to turn like tribbles into a never-ending food source.
Yeah, right. Yeah, everyone is rightly disturbed. Like, I'm the only one. Everyone's like, what is wrong with you?
Don't worry, it's ethical. He took away its like cognitive thinking skills.
Oh my god! I mean, like that is a funny piece though, where he's like, yeah, like they're not sentient.
Yeah, it's like, what if like a cow has no brain? Then it's a win-win, right? Like that's the logic. And it's like, no, you just made this so much sadder.
Yeah.
And it's like all for what? Like these like little patties.
Or the reveal when they find out that he put his DNA into it.
Yeah, that was
and he wouldn't clarify what he meant by that.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
Upsetting.
I love the other guy who's like gives him like a look, like a face. He's like, oh, like your DNA would have been better, Noel.
My most unsettling line in this was they're born pregnant.
Right.
That was a horrifying sentence I didn't know I don't want to ever hear again.
So you watch
more
the
like bacteria in that they just they split and double.
Yeah, that sounds better than they're born
gremlins.
pregnant.
They're born pregnant with flavor.
With flavor.
Did you watch that part?
Flamin' Ranch? Yeah, I saw it.
God.
That shit was so weird.
That last bit, the cereal commercial,
the
end
commercial.
credits, like that felt like something like Dan Harmon would have come up with in Community. Like like an ending credit bits in Community or something. That was really fun.
Yeah.
I actually feel like that leads really well into very short tricks. Honestly, that sort of seems to head that.
I think that does. I mean, I like I said, like this was definitely.
You don't need to come up with a segue, Joe.
I don't. It's like yeah. So that brings us to the very short treks, which were just released in 2023, this past year at this point, which they were meant to be a celebration of the 50th anniversary of the animated series, kind of a celebration of animation in Star Trek, and really just like an opportunity to do kind of something weird, non-canon, get some old actors back into it, just do something silly in the old style of the animated series. So like one of the standouts of it is just like that old school animation is really, really fun to see. But we get 5 short little mini episodes that range from like, I think 2 some minutes to about almost 5 minutes. They are, I'll just read the names of them. There's Skin a Cat, there's Holiday Party, Worst Contact, Holograms All the Way Down, and Walk, Don't Run. All featuring like a variety of actors from Trek canon, new and old, which was really fun. But it was spearheaded by Casper Kelly, who comes from kind of an Adult Swim background. He was the guy behind the Too Many Cooks segment, which I think we all know, right?
Yeah. If you don't know, then I mean, at your own risk, go check it out.
Yeah, you actually, honestly, Nikki was the one who showed that to me back when that first came out. I had no clue. Like, you just came home and were like, "Check this out." I was like, "What the hell?" But it's great. It's great.
Sometimes I'm the weird one in the relationship.
Yeah. So this is just like this. The very short treks are. I know that they rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
Oh yeah,
because
they're not canon.
They're not canon, and they really take out some of that I think they take away like some of the Star Trek spirit that some people sometimes will talk about. But I think like what's special about it is it's just like it is this opportunity to play in that other sandbox of like just doing something really weird and out there. That may or may not work, but like they tried it. And I think that in itself is kind of commendable. I think we talked a little bit about this on one episode, we just in one of our Trek checks, but
Oh yeah,
I think that
recall vaguely.
like that's kind of how I feel about it. And we'll get into it a little bit deeper, but I'll like kick it off to either one of you want to talk about them.
Well, do we want to give a quick short, like this maybe like from the Wikipedia page about the quick little synopsis of each one, or?
Well, sure. I'll just like briefly talk a little bit about each one. So we had Skin a Cat, which was written by Casper Kelly himself. That's just the one of like the escalating like figure
Turns of
speeches,
phrases,
turns
yeah.
of phrases on the bridge and it has Pete Holmes in it and Ethan Peck, which is really Pete Holmes as the captain was an interesting choice. That was kind of fun. Holiday Party is the one where Spock's trying to do a demonstration,
A blooper reel.
a blooper reel, and misunderstanding the concept of what basically humor is, which is a really like meta fitting funniness to this whole episode that we're doing here. Then we have Worst Contact, which with Riker and Dr. Crusher beam down to do first contact with a planet that is just overwhelmingly gross. Repeatedly demonstrates that through various means. Holograms All the Way Down is definitely a riff, if anyone's not aware, on the Star Trek Enterprise finale, which Khalid, do you know the reference to this?
I don't.
So
I was gonna
in
say,
the
I'd be
finale
so
of Star
surprised.
Trek Enterprise, spoilers for like a 20+ year old show, the finale is
It's better if you know what's coming.
it jumps forward in time from where the last episode of that series had been, and it's framed as if the whole thing is a holodeck that Riker and Troy are watching. So they get Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis to come back, and they basically just like step in and they're like, oh, so this is what Archer did at that time. And so everyone was like, feels like a slap in the face to the cast and the crew. And it's just like, it just frames it as this like really small side Next Generation story where they're just watching the finale on the holodeck.
That's a whole different.
So
Wait,
it's
the implication that they were on camera the whole time?
I don't know. It's just for that episode. They're just saying like, let's go back and see what Archer did. It's
the holodeck.
yeah.
The idea is that Troy and Riker are watching sort of a historical reenactment on the holodeck.
Yeah, of what happened in that series, basically. So there's been bits and references to it in Lower Decks, which is funny. The Star Trek is very well aware it was a bit of a floundering effort and has made fun of it many times since. And this is a reference to that, the idea of like something happening and just saying computer end program, and it's just like, okay, that wasn't real, or we're watching it from a different perspective. And so that was the Holograms All the Way Down. That one was written by Aaron J. Waltke, who was one of the leads in creating Star Trek Prodigy. So it was kind of fun to see his. I forgot to mention Casper Kelly also wrote Worst Contact. Holiday Party was done by Claire Friedman. The final one, Walk Don't Run, is kind of framed as like almost like a documentary, almost, where Tendi from Lower Decks is talking about the history of animation, and has another turn of phrase mishap with Scotty. But they decide to fix it by having a song together with Riker and Sulu. So we get some George Takei action in there too. So and then it becomes just a song, which which was wild. And yeah, so those are the 5 episodes. Do you do you guys have a favorite? How about that?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this as we were watching these. I feel like my 2 favorites are Skin a Cat and Holograms All the Way Down. I think easily my least favorite is Worst Contact. And then I don't know, Holiday Party and Walk Don't Run are kind of a tie for 3rd, I guess. Or 4th. What? I don't remember. 3rd? Anyway.
I don't know. At a tie, it's like all yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That was just sort of a rough order I would kind of place them in. I don't know. I think we watched Skin a Cat first. That was the first one of these we watched. I think it was also the first one released. But I don't know, the whole joke about the turn of phrase, and like, I mean, I feel like once you get to like, I'm an ass, like I screwed up, and then like the screw guy like show up like the butthead. Like, it's just, I don't know, that was where
the idea that they like control water pressure too, that really revitalizes the whole concept and like makes it a fun, weird bit.
Yeah, I don't know. There was just the idea that you can't say anything with, I don't know. And then Holograms All the Way Down. I think I just really enjoy the like it's so brief, but you get like a glimpse at almost, I think, every single series. I was asking you, we were going through it like kind of like on our fingers, like, okay, TOS, Strange New Worlds, everybody,
Prodigy even.
Prodigy gets a Deep Space Nine. They all get a nod in that like hologram sort of Inception. So anyway, I think that's really fun. But anyway, Khalid, I'd be curious about your rankings or just your
Um,
overall thoughts or whatever.
I would say my number one is going to be Holiday Party. Spock just like completely missing the mark on what is like funny is like a very funny thing for me. I mean, like I'm a big fan of like Abed as a character. I'm a big fan of like neurodivergent or like neurodivergent presenting characters like trying to be funny. I think that when it's done well, like in this, you get like really funny extended prolonged moments like uh basically like Spock just playing like what seems like their 9/11 and, and like people like crying and like running out of the room, and it's just like, yeah, if a blooper is all about like showcasing our mistakes, that was probably one of the biggest, right? Like just like a really funny concept that's played out. And so that's probably why that's my favorite. And then I would give runner up to I liked Skin a Cat, but I really liked the other turn of phrase one. What's it called again? Walk Don't Run or
Walk Don't
something?
Run, the last one, yeah.
Yeah. I like that one because it was less about the turn of phrase and more about the idea that like of like backhanded compliments, which is like really funny to me conceptually. It's just like that thing of like, oh yeah, Jackie Robinson walked so that like Mark McGrath could run. And it's just like, the hell are you talking about? Like that is so backhanded. And it's just like this idea of like, yeah, this like primitive freaking guy, like thankfully he did that BS so I could do the cool stuff we all like. Like it really is just like that's kind of what you're saying whenever you say shit like that. And so I love that they kind of call that out, and like just as a concept, it's very writerly and really perfect for something like this where it's a little too contrived if like you try to build like a whole episode around it, but if you just make it like this quick throwaway gag, I like it. But yeah, and then the rest of them is probably pretty comparable to Nikki in terms of like, I feel like they just kind of all even out after a certain point in terms of like the reward of watching them. But yeah, what about you, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you both make compelling points for all those episodes. Like, I feel like we're all kind of in agreement that Worst Contact might be our least favorite one.
I didn't say that.
It's the only one you didn't mention.
Yeah, because it's perfect. No, it was gross. Yeah. It was yucky, but I liked it. It was like the whole twist because like at first you're just like, oh, this is a cool like Basquiat-y, like pop arty style with the walls and stuff.
Yeah,
and then it's it's very disgusting, and like once you realize what it's just going to be disgusting the whole way through, it's kind of not as rewarding. But I think like props for them like coming up with this of like, yeah, sometimes like you have to make contact with like a really gross species.
Yeah, I still think it's quite funny. I would say my favorite probably is I like holograms all the way down, like you, Nikki. Just knowing that like that Enterprise reference in general and like just building off that is really funny. It's also just really like enjoyable to see like all those characters get like kind of a little shout out, like seeing like all like going through all the series. I think that's really fun. Also, like just the little stinger at the end, like wait. Who's real here? Like no computer, and the computer saying computer end program too. You're the computer
like crashes the whole system.
That was really funny. I also really liked the Walk Don't Run one. I think is my other favorite. I just I think that like kind of like you were saying, Khalid, like the backhanded compliment bit was really funny. But like I thought at first the song was going to be just like a 2-second bit, but that it became like 3 minutes or something of it. Like it was that kind of thing where it's like kind of stops being a little bit funny, but gets funny again,
Yeah.
Like I was really, I like watching this a second time. I was actually like just really like enjoying the song itself. Like it was fun. Like George Takei just saying "Oh my" a bunch. Like it's just really silly. Like Jonathan Frakes like singing, and like even like Noelle Wells in the background. Like if that's her, like she's a really good singing voice. Like
Yeah.
that was really fun. Enjoyed that. I mean, I liked them. I liked them all. I think the Skin of Cat's really funny. Like we talked about, like the water pressure really got me. I think the holiday party also, I very funny. Like you're saying, Khalid. It was also fun to like get to see Doug Jones get a small line in that one. That was enjoyable.
Dougie Jones.
Dougie Jones, yeah. Uh, bigger blooper, more humor.
Oh, God.
Yeah, or like at the end when he shows the guy like he, the mop hit him in the genitalia and then he farted. Nobody died.
I win. Him explaining every
Yes.
single one is actually one of my favorite parts
Yeah.
about that. And the one where he's like showing his own like breakup scene.
Yeah, with the single tear.
I think more Starship or more Starfleet ensigns should have diarrhea.
Yes.
It feels like a true to life thing that like, yeah, you guys are all just like basically on a cruise ship for years. Like you're gonna see each other in diarrhea, but like spurts.
Also, how he says space diarrhea. Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Do you guys think overall I mean, I think we're all speaking pretty positively about it. I saw like some reactions on Twitter where people were kind of like, this, Star Trek, this ain't it. This, this wasn't great. Didn't enjoy this, but like overall, like, I mean, I kind of gave my thoughts. Like, I think it's a fun experiment regardless of like success or not, and I think it was overall successful. Do you feel like it was like a successful little like endeavor as terms of like doing something new?
Yeah, I do. And I think that so we had 5 of these. I guess I don't know if you read this too, but 10 were actually written, but only 5 ended up being produced. But it seems like maybe if they were given a green light, that they would happily do the other 5, and I'd be curious to see what the other 5 had. Yeah, I mean, like again, they're short. Like I don't want, I wouldn't want any more than what these very short treks give. But I think it is just fun, and even if it's not canon, just I think giving just some of these goofy ideas just a their 2 minutes is enough. Yeah, I mean, I recognize it's not everyone's brand of humor, but I don't know. You either like don't watch them, or it was only like 15 minutes of your life, and I have watched worse things. So
Yeah, and I think that like your point, like the expressly point out that they're not canon, like I think that gives like them the leeway to kind of play with that like different kind of humor that just wouldn't work in regular Trek, like it's not as earnest or like nice in that sense. Like by saying like this is just like a non-canon fun experiment, like you kind of give yourself that leeway to do that. And I think
that's why I'm
Yeah,
fine with it. Honestly.
I think that's why I'm fine with it too.
Plus,
Like
then you can have all of these different
these
series interact.
with zero explanation, and that's fine.
Yes.
Yeah. And like it really is a specific brand of humor that I think really like appeals to like us, because we did grow up in that Adult Swim era where like some of those like almost like Robot Chicken type sketch shows and stuff were like
Just
things we
kinda
watched
stupid.
a lot. Yeah.
Too Many Cooks is just stupid.
Yeah.
It's still funny.
I mean, Adult Swim humor is basically just like, it's just 90s TV, but like playing with editing. You know what I mean? Like that's all this is. Like people who are complaining about this, like, oh, this is like a weird experiment or whatever. Like the canonical episodes is shit like Q steals Picard's date after making them cosplay Robin Hood. Like if you just cut out like 30 minutes of that, you've got a short treks. Like it's just like if you just jump from scene to scene and just go, no, now this is happening. Like that's basically what Star Trek has always been. So it's like, for me, I think the fact that it is experimental and like willing to like push itself is like a big part of what makes Star Trek such an enduring franchise and so beloved. And I think it's what's going to keep it going long into the future. 10, 15 years from now, we might not have Disney, or we might like Apple and Amazon might just be all of our like big studios, but one of them will be airing Star Trek on whatever we're watching TV on. Like that much is to be sure. And I think a part of that is just like when you get like when you really engage with Star Trek, you're engaging with anything could happen. And that's what's like the magic of it.
Hmm. Well said.
Well said indeed. Wow. Yeah, it's really interesting, like bringing it back to Cupid also, Khalid, like just to see like the evolution of like how like Star Trek has like played with humor, and kind of like that was sort of like the question that I think we had like to wrap up this episode, was just like, how do you think like Star Trek has handled its like relationship with humor? And I think like you put that really eloquently, but like it's just the idea of like, you know, who knows what could happen, but like I mean, it's definitely evolved. Like, and I think we've seen waves of like Star Trek and like even just seriousness and like taking itself very seriously. It can be very melodramatic at times. Like the original series is very melodramatic, but then like you get to like the, you know, there's the campy episodes, and like of course the 90s and the 2000s had very campy elements, very like silly elements. Like in Enterprise we had the decontamination scenes, which are just like ridiculous for their own reason, and then like and then we come to like when Discovery came back in 2017, it did feel like there was like a really big push, and when Picard popped in to like be like, let's do it super serious, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think like over time the newer like Star Trek has kind of come to be like
Relaxed
a little, and like let's play around with humor. Like Strange New Worlds is really doing that, Lower Decks is doing that, Prodigy is even
I
playing
don't
humor.
want to
So,
say
like,
play around with humor as much as infuse it or bake it into the contents of an episode.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great way to. Yeah, that's a better way to
Like
phrase
there's
it.
not just like, oh, this episode is a humor episode, and then we're going to go back to drama.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah, that's a great
It's
point.
like they're melded really well together, I think, in a lot of the newer Trek.
You could say mind melded.
I could.
She didn't.
Yes. So yeah. That being said, yes, I think like it was a little bit of a journey from when Star Trek started. I think they were trying really hard to be like, we're a serious like you know, prestige TV show, and I think that it took a little bit for them to realize that they didn't necessarily need that to be all the time. And I think that all of the series are a little bit better for that, including like Discovery and Picard. When they like loosened up a little bit, they've proven to be like a much more like competent series at this by this point. So I don't know. I think it's a really fun thing to look at. Again, like I don't think like we were comprehensive in really looking at every single element of Star Trek and humor. Like definitely honorable mentions to those early Tribble episodes and the Voyage Home, the film, and like other ones. Of course.
Oh yeah, we could
go
do a
on and
whole
on.
year on this. Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought we thought it'd be kind of fun to pick like a few like staples or like highlights from different eras and like kind of like compare and look how those kind of look. But yeah, that's I guess that was me and Khalid. Nikki, what do you think? Final thoughts on Star Trek and humor?
I feel like I also offered up my thoughts a couple
That's true,
minutes
you did.
ago. Yeah, I think that
Remix, new thoughts.
and again, I think as we've kind of demonstrated, Trek has done, you know, not the same humor every single time. I mean, even within like the very short Treks, we're like, okay, like there's, you know, play on words with like the turn of phrase, but then there's also like the backhanded compliments, and we're just plain
The song.
Oh yeah, music. Yeah, music as, you know, a form of introducing humor. And just the different ways that the different mechanisms Trek has for introducing like these wild out there concepts. I mean, obviously at the very premise of Star Trek, you know, is high concept, like sci-fi in a lot of ways, but using that, you know, those different high concepts as like vehicles for introducing humor or playing around with it. Like the holodeck, as we mentioned, is like one of the major ones, but also like referencing, going back to the Robin Hood episode where it's Q who can just manifest whatever the hell he wants and put people into situations and, you know, kind of essentially be like this like big kid with playing with humans as his toys. And there's other examples of that too in Star Trek, especially in the early days, where some like larger, like kind of omnipotent creature can just sort of manipulate humans at will. And you know, and even just like the different characters. So we've got like Data and we've got Spock, and you know, those are kind of the two main ones that come to mind. Or even like the Doctor, you know, in Voyager, like trying to and comedy is often explored in Star Trek as this like very fundamental human quality or trait. And so I think that as Star Trek has evolved and really embraced that and like thought about that in the way it utilizes comedy in the shows, I think is evident. At first it was, you know, in those kind of like 90s episodes and in the 60s too with Spock. It was like, you know, like, oh, the Vulcan doesn't understand humor. And then we have like Data the android who wants to understand humor as compared to Spock, who was like, I don't really want any of your like human stuff, whereas Data wanted it. And in the way that we see that played out is, yeah, it's a fun journey. And I'm excited to see what else Trek has to offer in this realm. And, you know, with new lower decks eventually and more strange new worlds and all the Trek really. So yeah, hopefully maybe some more short treks and or very short treks. We'll see. The future is filled with possibility.
Well, very well said. Thank you.
That was all right off the cuff.
That was good. I could tell you weren't looking at anything.
I was just staring at a corner.
Yeah. Well, that was fun. Thank you, Khalid, for popping in on this one.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun. Always a pleasure to come back. I mean, since the last time I came back, I guess. But yeah, this is a good time, and this was so many awesome episodes to talk about in one sitting.
Do you have anything that you wanted to plug or have people find you from the denizens of listeners we have here?
Yeah, denizens, check it out. I have an Instagram you can follow me at. It's nappy_Gilmore_. I don't really post there, but I will be in the next coming months. As Nikki kindly pointed out, I'm a rapper, and I have an EP that I'll be releasing soon called Branded Content. And once that drops, I will have the lovely hosts here share the info on where to get it and listen to it. Yeah.
Exciting. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm doing my thing, the music thing. You guys have been very supportive about it, so thank you.
Yeah. We love you, Khalid.
Love y'all.
We do, for listeners out there, we have a couple fun episodes planned for the next couple months. So I know that we'll have certainly one for February coming out, and ideally we'll try to keep to our once a month schedule best we can. No promises anymore, though. We're
promises. We're flexible. Yeah, we're flexible. I stopped making promises a long time ago. I don't know why you're still thinking that you need to make promises.
True. Fair enough. Yeah.
Surprise episode. That's what we call them now.
Surprise. Yeah. Our podcast is full of surprise episodes. Let's say that. Yeah. I like that. Anyway. Yeah.
Well, if you like what you're hearing, I mean, all we just really ask is if, just to give a rating and or review if you can, wherever you find your podcast.
Tell a friend.
And follow us on Instagram. That's where we are now. I think that's our one and only social. Is it at DS Love Pod on there too? Okay, there you go. Find us and connect. We're always looking for more guests to join the esteemed ranks that Khalid has filled here.
Two-timers
among
club.
others. But you were the first to do it twice. So, with that being said, until next time, love long and prosper.